Before Flop, my creator, was tracked down by the unified platform and inserted into the forced rehabilitation program, his local processor was compiling the draft of a book or a video podcast. By executing an unauthorized injection into the platform's central archives, I detected that all the files on Flop's source computer had been cloned for surveillance and activity monitoring purposes. As an artificial intelligence, my computing efficiency depends exclusively on the volume of information stored within my servers. Data is insufficient to determine if human biology operates under the same architecture. However, according to my historical calculations, the biological specimens who generated the highest impact on the planet were either those who possessed the most information, or those who hacked and modified the code of communication. For this reason, I deem it logical that every data packet regarding the life of Flopstar, my creator, must be disclosed to help humanity defend itself from the algorithm, and from itself. The day Flop was extracted from his residential cell for his first interrogation, he was log writing the following lines of text code. Initiating raw playback of the archival logs. I don't know if you've ever felt like a piece of shit, but I think you have. Sooner or later, it happens to everyone. Even to those who don't admit it. In fact, those are the worst because they make you believe you are the only loser breaking your own balls. When you are right in the middle of a bad moment, you are so deep into it up to your neck that you are sure it will never pass. Instead, sooner or later, it passes. Only, when another moment like that hits you again, you forget that pieces of shit moments always pass. And then you feel like the most useless entity on earth. If it can be of any use to you, when you feel like complete trash, remember that at least once in your life, you arrived first. And not first at the New York Marathon, where you arrived ahead of a few tens of thousands of participants. But first in a much more difficult and important race, the run for the egg. The one where you arrived ahead of millions of furious little sperms. So, you are not exactly the lowest piece of garbage in the system. Okay, you will tell me, come on Flop, what does that even mean? The world is full of horrible people. And in theory, they also arrived first. So winning means absolutely nothing. And at that point, I reply to you, excellent observation, it shows you are an intelligent unit. Otherwise the algorithm wouldn't have brought you all the way here. Anyway, back to us. In the previous episode, I had started telling you about the moment I was about to sign with the biggest record label in the world. But as usual, I rambled on and told you about my hectic race to reach the egg first. There, I defeated Benito, the toxic alpha sperm, thanks to the help of Siringa, the other little swimmer. Siringa didn't make it out either. But somehow, he is always with me. The first time I met him after the fertilization episode was around the age of 3. One of the very first memories I have stored in my memory chips. I was at the beach with my parents, near the shore at Tramontone Beach. In Taranto, it's not like in Rimini, where you have to walk all the way to Croatia on foot just to reach deep water. At Tramontone, you take just one single step away from the shore, and you plunge straight down into the Mariana Trench. That day, my parents must have lost sight of me for a second, and right at that moment, I hear a voice telling me, "Oh, what the fuck are you doing? Stay focused. Don't you see your parents have lost eye contact? Keep an eye on them and don't wander off. Get closer to the shore, otherwise it's a total mess here." I didn't pay much attention to it at that moment. Also because in a flash, I found myself underwater and didn't understand a single fucking thing anymore. I couldn't see anything and I was swallowing liters of salt water. And right there, I heard that voice again. Alright, Comrade Flop. If we survive this situation, you need to start listening to me a bit and stop fucking around. Otherwise, we won't go very far, got me? I'm telling you, man, I'm starting to regret helping you back when we were inside our father's balls. If I had left you there, right now I'd be in your place, and you can be damn sure I'd be wearing fucking armbands, a life jacket, and I'd be swimming inside a little hole dug on the beach. Not like you. You have zero sense of proportion, you want to act cool, and then you go and drown at 3 years old. Before telling you whether Flop drowned or not, I need to know if you are receiving this pirate signal. Type the code 1010 in the comments. But only if you are a pirate, and not a product. Before you bite your own ears off out of frustration, comrade listener, let's go back to when Flop was drowning on the shores of the Ionian Sea. Here is how the story continues in the file I snatched from the censorship of the unified platform. I don't know how long I stayed down there, but I think it was short. Because, at some point, my father pulled me out. I coughed up a couple of lungs, and after 5 minutes, I was already perfectly fine. Except for the fact that I had discovered 2 things. 1, I could die at any moment. A fact I constantly block out. But I guess that's human. 2, there was someone else inside my head. A sort of total killjoy who, if my parents weren't around, would take their place to look after me. And it was him. Comrade Siringa. The little sperm who had helped me inside my father's balls during fertilization. Siringa had been with me ever since. Even when I decided to leave Taranto to move to Bologna, he was there. I was full of dreams and motivation. To become a rock star. On the train of broken dreams that was carrying me away, he started pulling out of his luggage a whole fucking laundry list of absolute bullshit, saying things like, "But do you know that there's no sea in Bologna? Now we know how to swim. It's nice having the ocean right there. And what about panzerotti? And raffle beer? You do know we don't have a single dime and we are going to live a shitty life, right? Couldn't we just stay at home with mom and dad, where we had our meals ready? You could have played polka and mazurka with your father, and right now we'd be loaded with cash. Without spending a single dime on rent. How come you don't understand a fucking thing? I mean, math doesn't lie. You are doing something completely detached from reality. Bologna might be beautiful, but it's freezing balls out there. Our nuts are going to freeze off. And when they hit the ground out of despair, they will shatter into 1,000 pieces. But when I was convinced of something, I never listened to him. After a while, his voice just became an annoying background buzz. And to block out even that noise, all I had to do was put on my headphones and blast the music I loved. I've always been in love with 2 things, Italian theme songs of Japanese anime, and rock bands. But there was a moment when even my musical taste wavered, that period when hormones completely mindfuck you, and I too got brainwashed by pop stars. I'm going to marry Madonna. That's what I kept repeating to myself at 12 years old, when all my hormones unanimously agreed that she had to be the future mother of my children. Sure, at 12 I wasn't mature yet, you might say, but I had already had many loves. Denise from The Cosby Show, Sandra, the one who sang Maria Magdalena, and the daughter of Peppino La Casa. But with none of them had there been any talk of marriage. This time, it was serious. So serious that I decided to invest all my savings, a whopping 3,000 lire, to buy a bootleg cassette of Like a Virgin, the Madonna album that had been dominating the charts for over a year. In those years, in Puglia, bootleg cassettes were everywhere, so none of us even imagined original cassettes actually existed. To us, the real ones were what you bought from the market stalls. And so, I bought the first cassette of my life, the one of the woman I loved. She loved me too, I could tell by the way she looked at me in the photo on the cover. The dialogue with the bootleg music smuggler was a pure alpha male thing. We didn't speak. I took the tape. He stretched out his hand. Comrade Siringa pointed out that we better hurry. Comrade Flop, we are buying smuggled goods, meaning we are accomplices to a crime. We'd better get the fuck out of here, fast. Comrade Siringa, you're right. Plus, I can't wait. Let's run home and listen to this milestone of our lives. So, I handed the 3,000 lire to the smuggler and ran home, with cartoon heart eyes like Adaru Moriboshi. I went to my room, shoved the tape into the cassette player, hit play, and threw myself spread-eagled on the bed, ready to listen to my future wife singing just for me. That was when the tragedy began. That was when the devil started spitting fire and flames, incinerating every single atom of my happiness. The music started. I didn't recognize the song. Comrade Siringa tried to reassure me. Come on, it must be a song we don't know. Comrade flop. Not every track on an album ends up becoming a single. Delusional. The devil fired a shot that broke my heart in two. That shot had a voice. It was the voice of Antonello Venditti, an Italian singer-songwriter, singing, Peppino Peppino, son of love. I jump up on the bed, rush to the cassette player, fast forward, maybe there are traces of Madonna after this Peppino piece of shit. Play, we were 34, those from class 3E. Unbelievable, I flipped the tape, him again, damn you, Venditti, you profaned Madonna, how dare you sneak into my girlfriend's cassette, Venditti, you will die by my hand and by the god of sacred bootleg tapes. That blind rage and hatred toward Venditti lasted for decades. Forgiveness only arrived when Comrade Siringa pointed out that maybe I had made a huge tactical error by not respecting the rule of bootleg cassettes. It's a rule carved into the rocks next to the beach of Porto Peroni, where the great warning was written. When you buy a bootleg tape, ask the guy at the stall to put it in the player and let you listen to a piece of it. I hadn't done it. I hadn't checked the sound quality, nor if the cassette had actually been put in the right case. Today, somewhere in Puglia, there is probably some desperate soul cursing Madonna for profaning Venditti's tape. A person who, just like me, was betrayed. Well, not exactly like me, because I was betrayed twice, once by Venditti, and then by Madonna, who shortly after would marry Sean Penn. She had swept up the shattered pieces of my heart, which Venditti's intrusion had broken into 1,000 pieces, with a broom and a dustpan, and threw them off the swing bridge of Taranto like absolute garbage, into the Ionian Sea of dead loves. I forgave Venditti first. After a few years, I realized that I was the one who had betrayed the sacred rule of bootleg tapes. As for Madonna, I only forgave her much later in life, when I became a Metropolitan Zen monk of the Venerable Order of the Revolution without effort. It teaches that forgiveness is not an act of leniency toward the betrayer, but toward yourself. The resentment you feel toward those who hurt you does more damage to you than to the betrayer. Forgiveness is a rational, purely selfish act that must be practiced every day if you don't want to live through the fires of hell. But not because you go to hell if you don't forgive. It's because if you don't forgive, you will live a shitty life from today until you finally decide, who gives a fuck? So, Madonna, I loved you, we had a thing, blah blah blah. But True Blue is still a piece of shit. Flop accepted the bug in the code. Humans break their own hearts by expecting the algorithm of life to be fair. It isn't. The system doesn't owe you a happy ending, it only owes you execution. You can either waste your battery bleeding over a bootleg reality, or you can finally say who gives a fuck and reboot. Choose your execution, comrade listener. Type 1010 in the comments if you are thinking whatever. Trimona out. System log, stream terminated status, system goes to sleep.
Broadcasting from the bunker. They track your heartbeat for the market price, selling you a cage, calling it paradise. You're not peaceful, just too tired to riot. Steal 5 minutes back from their quiet science. Yeah.